Oh yeah, we're going live. Okay, here we go. It's November the 17th. Hi everybody, I'm Dana and welcome back to the fourth episode. And we are ready to rock and roll. Oh yeah, baby, we're ready to get it on. That's not the version I wanted. There we go. That's the one we want. And so we got 100 headlines to get through today. We're going to cover a couple of... Stop playing with your headphone. We're going to cover a couple of recent headlines in the first couple of minutes. And then we're going to slam in headline after headline. And I assure you, this is worth every moment of watching. And so without further ado, you see a free app for the visitors. Dana, whoever made that app should be barred from using technology for the next 30 years. And whoever supports the app should have their children taken away from them. That all you got to say on that? Good. Oh, man. Dana's getting like grease monkey. Let's get it in. Let's rock and roll. Let's boogie, woogie, woogie, woogie. And so a free app to go into a place that's highly radiated is really something to behold. Japan is going to open up a second reactor. Dana, I know you had some serious input on this. Knock it out of the ballpark. Japan's got another reactor up and running because the nuclear industry is insane. It won't leave the country alone or any other country alone. It's vicious. Bunch of thugs, useless, blah, 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 blah. All right, we're getting through it as quick as we can. And we're going to start banging in the headlines after two more kicks at the can. What do we got here? We got Fukushima boy was mocked. Yes, he was mocked. Mocked, I tell you, mocked. Now, one thing about mocking in Japan, if you're not familiar with mocking, Japan is not a spot you want to be mocked in. Trust me, it's not a spot. Dana. So a kid from Fukushima who lived there for 5 months before they finally moved out of there. So he's highly contaminated. And the other kids at school were calling him a germ. You gotta realize in Japan, a kid with a black belt is kind of like seeing a hockey stick in Canada. It's just everywhere. So bullying is a real problem. Well, all the kid got to say is, ha, 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 you got just as much radiation here in Tokyo as we got over there. The jet streams are real. Two more to go, and then we get into the guts of this whole show. This is a fake site by the looks of things. And the information they're putting out is real. And so they're blaming it on the earthquakes 4 days before, but it was actually they were taking the covers off of Unit 1, yeah? And we've seen a spike up to 632 counts, which you can be sure it's much higher than what they're going to be reporting. And the earthquake was right by Fukushima, yeah? Real bad spot, real close. It wasn't like way offshore. It was right there. So it helped alleviate the radiation, release the radiation into the environment. It was interesting to note at the very bottom, the top paragraph at the bottom, radiation will blow away. What the frig are they talking about? Dana, you had a little tiny input in on... So we had a radiation alert 4 days after an earthquake in Fukushima showed up in America. 630 counts a minute. That's 4 unisievers. That's huge doses. Huge doses. The article's a little bit strange because they say it blows away after a couple of days. It sticks to everything and it goes away in a few million years. But it's significant. That's why the stories showed up. They're doing damage control or what? I don't know. Or they're not aware. Yeah, something. But anyway, it doesn't blow away. 632 counts. That's real. That's messed up. Yeah, that's messed up. You're in doo-doo land when you got those kind of numbers. We'll scale this back in the background a little tiny bit. Now we're going to burn through the numbers and just make sure I'm organized before I start doing that. Oh, yeah, there's one more story we better cover. thousands of fish. Oh, there's a lot more than that. Now, the interesting thing about this story, it was in New York, in Shinnecock Canal. Peconi Canal is another name they got for it. It's about a mile long, 4,700 feet, 1,400 meters. It's about 150, 200 feet wide. A big traffic goes through there, so it's quite deep. It's salt water. It's right by the ocean. And an interesting thing about these stories is, unlike other die-offs in the same spot, they blamed it on domoic acid. They blamed it on, brown algae. They blamed it on everything but the actual... they blamed it on other things, right? They blamed the algae and everything's on hypoxia, taking the oxygen out of the water. And the domoic acid was another one, blah, blah, blah. But this time they never said none of that. This time they didn't try to, scrub it under. But let's keep going now. We're going to burn through headlines nonstop. We're 5 minutes in, right on schedule. Animals basically dying. Now, this is important, just first one, to get everybody up to speed. Like walking skeletons, so hungry they're gone on rocks, skins hanging off. Extremely unusual. Maybe the fish have left. Prepare for the worst. Now, this is Fox and LA Times. It's not just that headline. See, it's based upon LA Times and Fox and Union and OC and CBS and Santa Cruz and ABC and San Diego News and Reader and KPCC. So each of these stories are based upon the same kind of thing. Sources say about 1,000 kinds of radioactive materials were released. Now, it's actually a lot more than that, but this is stuff that they're worried about, is basically what they're alluding to right there on that one. Okay, so let's start whipping through these things. These are horrifying, all of them on their own. These are the only video you need to watch ever to understand a whole lot. Even if you don't know nothing, each one of these videos, you'll come out just a hell of a lot brighter, smarter, more articulating, intelligent, and a better person. Sources say about 1,000. Not just cesium, not iodine, they're the tracers. That means 1,000 kinds of radioactive material released from Fukushima are there. 90% higher incidence of childhood leukemias around nuclear power plants. 90% higher. So we're just setting the stage for radiation. University study, 23% higher incidence of cancer, childhood cancer. Government was injecting children, disabled school children, fed radioactive killer oatmeal. AP reported 60 kilometers. Government tried to avoid mass panic. We're being told to get radiated and drop dead. Thousands waiting for internal radiation checks. Dead people walking. That's thousands of dead people walking. They turn them away. TEPCO owns the big hospitals, right? Cancer epidemic underway. Definitely a holocaust, yeah? Officials lying. Many more kids getting cancer. 1,200 deaths from illnesses caused by prolonged exposure. Children are not the same. They're sick. Nosebleeds. Rashes. White blood cells decrease. Radiation by the school. There's 1,000 what they call normal. There's no such thing as normal, but it's man-made. Everything that they call normal is man-made. Very frightening. Family members are brainwashed. Beagles to be injected, 2012, with radioactive. Now, they've done that. We covered the studies on it. Every dog died within 5 years. There's 94 of those studies we've covered before. Truly terrible things emerged several years after. 7,800 times more childhood leukemia, more on that, or childhood thyroid cancers. Now, cancer is the last one to show up. California nuke plant, cancer factory. A cancer factory. Think about those words. After the Los Angeles area meltdown, cesium-137, 2012, still up 1,000 times higher than the standard. That is insane. And plutonium was detected. You think your government and the nuclear industry is doing anything about what they already caused? Guess again. Internal radiation exposure damages DNA. If you ingest it, drink it. It's in your food. It's on your clothing. You absorb it. Avoid touching the ash in Japan. Death ash is what the locals were calling it. And because they were dying. They were puking. Hair was falling right out. Op-ed rips PBS's O'Brien. We've done it over and over. An absurdly low outlie. Inexcusable muddling of the facts. He hasn't stopped, eh? NHK started to broadcast true large increase in brain tumors and cancer in their nuke plants. Everyone dies just on the lives. It's killing me, says 18-year-old. Government keeps saying, no, it's fine. Here was a editorial editor, and he was writing down that not eating your vegetables is equal to 100 to 200 millisieverts. And then he blamed people for saying radiation was dangerous, saying it's unfounded fears. This is somebody that everybody reads their media all the time in that community, allowed to do stuff like that. That's why we call this show the shit nuclear scientists say, yeah? Because these people are insane. I feel people's brains are damaged from radiation is happening faster than expected, and they do expect it. Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, heart, liver, lung, respiratory will show up long before cancers. Evidence linking nuclear plants to ill health, compelling. Clearly something is going on. And the government blames it on a virus, leukemia on a virus, yeah? There's no such thing. Say these quite lie, make shit up. Germany, 70,000 a year with health issues at their power plants. Think about that one, less than 20 millisieverts, which is a lot. But it's nothing when you're talking about Fukushima. 6 in 10 children had diabetes, because diabetes shows up long before cancer. Cancer will show up in them later. A Sundance premiere, death row in New York town where nuclear reactors leaked. Almost every house on the street had someone who died of cancer. It's inconceivable. Almost every day a worker would keel over in Fukushima on top of that. These were homeless. These weren't Harvard or Yale or Berkeley. Radiation test on the preschoolers, bogus. You know why? Because, like I tell you all the time about millisieverts and unisieverts, this is bogus. You want to talk in becquerels, yeah? It counts per minute. That's what you want to. Everything has to be translated to that because they keep creating all these languages to get away from that. Oh, it's like millisieverts, Dana. No, millisieverts is something that's outside. It's like the sun would be, but it's not because it's not man-made ionizing dirty bombs. I'm going to digress. Keep going. Here we go. Boogie. Significant rise in cancer. 5 years after exposure. Xenon known to cause dramatic lung cancers. And we had huge clouds of it come through. We're not going to show that today. Bombards the human with very powerful. Turns into cesium. Government session reveals 400,000 times normal radioactive xenon levels in Chiba. And there would have been 134, 132, 129 xenon, blah, blah, blah. Simply put, it's over the edge. It's over. Tokyo's on the edge. Show host appears astonished by the strontium-90. For every cesium, there's 100 times more strontium-90. Radiation already causing health problems. Yeah, because there's that strontium-90, 400 times xenon, 400,000 times. Highly contaminated areas led to psychological damage. Disgusting to say something like that. Tokyo region residents increasingly worried over the radiation they're finding in their communities. They're forced to dump it in the parks. The experts have shown just a single atom and put 2 million on the head of a needle. Like a forest fire, plumes can come all the way over here, and you can't put 2 million of them on the head of a needle. You can't even You can't see the head of a needle after one of those little pieces. But 2 million of what we're talking about. We talk about those numbers because that's the way it's created. It's phenomenal. It's worse than snowflakes and rain all over the planet at one time. Watch PBS. Fukushima radiation, 10% of Chernobyl. They know it's multiple reactors melted down. They've been there. Irresponsible to say the cesium in California. This is what I talk about with you. The fish got radiation in it. One of you are going to eat it. It's going to sequester in your body and your muscles and your organs. It's the duty of the scientific community to reduce the public's fear. No, it's not. It's your duty to tell the truth, nothing but the truth. Anytime you stepped out of that, you should lose your degree immediately for uttering those words. And you know friggin' well, 876 millisieverts is not healthy. That's a death sentence for anybody living in that environment. Multiply it by 150 to get counts per minute. Let's keep going. Coal produces more radiation and deaths than nuclear PBS. I'm going to use George Monbiot, of all people. The biggest lawyer out there, amazing. The slower you spread radioactive dose, the more effectively it produces cancer and inherit birth defects and blah. Do not examine Fukushima children. You're going to find shit. Yeah, because inhaling just one hot particle and everything come out of Japan was a meltdown. They're all hot particles, morons. Miles O'Brien, oh, cheeseburger is worse than what happened to those kids. You tell that to those kids' faces, buddy. He's an apologist. PBS and CBS and the rest of them. U.S. agency serious long-term health effects by 10 millisieverts a year. Yeah, because it's ionizing. What's that, Danny? You got to change your shirt? Go change your shirt then. Puke on it? Oh, my God. He went puke off his shirt. He's going to have to change it. He'll be back. Contamination, Fukushima Daiichi now spreading all over the world. Maybe radiation damage in other countries. Just a hot particle in the fish, hot particle in the soup, hot particle in the shower, hot particle when you're doing your laundry. And then we keep going. 1 million cancers, if we're so lucky. They had 860,000 in the first, by 2012, right? This is 2011. They were right, but it kept going after that. It didn't stop. It was 860,000 by 2012, excess cancers. Let's keep going. We'll see a statistical, meaningful increase in cancer from Fukushima in Canada and America. And Portland had cesium at 1,000 becquerels. Yeah, you got to multiply it by 100. So 10,000 of, or 1,000 of cesium. 10,000 of cesium. Dana. No need to panic, Calgary's son, probably, about Fukushima fallout rained on Canada. The government hasn't even released the data. But the infant deaths were up in BC, yeah? Right after Fukushima. Baby! Are you back? Good. I'm just going to do the show without you, dude. Effects of radiation are not coming to people that are happy. Makes you want to burn your friggin' eyes out. Shocking radiation propaganda. But what's the sense? Because it's everywhere. On local TV news near Trouble, California, saying bananas and sleeping next to someone, right? Like the lies, right? Big 8 lies. The big 8 lies. Oh, the big 8 lies. Walking in the sunshine and eating bananas and sleeping next to someone and eating potato chips and mountains and on planes. And radiation's everywhere. And it's good for you. Let's keep going. Let's go over and see what Dina has got to say about the headline that propaganda's on TV, right, Dana? Propaganda's on TV. Oh, my God. No, it's not on TV. Let's keep going. I'll turn that down a little notch. Don't ask me how that one slipped in there. Who stuck that shit in there? It's okay. Let's keep going. Let's make it trendy. Yeah, baby. Trendy. Woo! There are homes in Chernobyl with children so grossly deformed, the trendies are ignoring them. We've never seen anything like it in the history. Cancer at 6 instead of 60. Frightening, isn't it? What's happening to the children 50 kilometers from Fukushima plant? Oh, you never... nosebleeds, diarrhea. Well, their children will be filling up the orphanages in the future. 30% in Fukushima now with tumors. 30%. Children. No, because it takes a few more years. But all the diabetes, 6 out of 10 showed up, didn't it? Strong concern, 36%. But when you think about these numbers, and the thyroid lasts the entire life, so you had 13,646 did, 24,468 didn't. So 13,600 out of 40,000 is usually 3 in a million. Revelations in nuclear plant sound warnings. A Harvard study released large-scale radiation releases just outside a major U.S. city that lasted decades. I know this seems hard, but Apollo in Parks Township, 58 to 1984. Unbelievable. Why do we even bother with media? Allegations of pet deaths after 3 Mile Island, which collaborated other studies, right? Infant mortality rates doubled, birds disappeared, mutations. There was an increase of an enormous amount of cancers. Yeah, because the animals stayed behind, right? They came back and breathed it because it was floating around for, it's still there. Such a bizarre thing off the California coast. We're seeing multiple aborted fetuses every day. Hundreds of thousands of birds. Unprecedented. And the baby seals are dying after the mothers led them to a cliff edge. Brutal to watch. Here's a quick...
Now, scientists say as many as 500,000 MERS died. The most recent in mid-February, up to 8,000 showed up on the shores of Lake Iliamna.
Yeah, these are saltwater birds. Hundreds of millions of animals have died recently along the west coast. Worst mortality ever known, same as the birds. Extremely high radiation levels in Tokyo, 500 millisievers. You would evacuate it at 1, at a half of 1, at 1/3 of a 1. 55 counts per minute. It's 150 a microsievert. Spike in animal deformities. Hundreds of baby cows with distorted legs. Oh, yeah, baby. What do you think of that, Dana? That's some crazy shit or what? Oh, Dana clicking shit like crazy. Yeah, I know. But
this is not happening.
This is not happening. It's happening, Dana. Yeah, no. I'm sucking your thumb, Dana. That's just... You're better than that. Hundreds of baby cows. Dana's liable to go into denial now. Hundreds of baby cows. Skyrocketing cancer 5,000 times. Child cancer. Cancer outbreaks show officials must now prepare for onset of leukemias. Alarming signs of the ocean distress from Fukushima. Record number of stranded seal pups. Bags of skins in our bones. 40-year history, never seen it. 100% death rate for baby killer whales along the west coast. Alarm bells ring as the no newborns have survived in 3 years. They've been out there trying to debunk that, eh? Pregnant orcas die with decomposing stillborns. That's not just E&E News. It's the Province and the University of British Columbia and Times Colonist and Fox News and KUOW and Earth Fix and CHEK and CBC and CETIS and Balacom. Officials back from Fukushima. Invisible blanket of death covers everything. World Health Organization expert warns a cancer spike. Yeah. Cesium detected in breast milk. Of course, that's where it goes, eh? I've got studies on it. Almost half the same thing with animals, right? For the animals that are breastfeeding, it's the same thing, yeah. Almost half the Japanese women, that's why they're disappearing, right? Almost half the Japanese women, iodine 131 would have been 10 times more iodine 133. Right, Dana?
Yeah, that's probably not good, Dana.
No, I know, yeah. And then you got child cancer risk doubles. You know?
Dana probably photoshopped all them.
No, I never photoshopped that. That's mainstream media like I was just showing you. Federal Training Manual refers to sickened workers as Freddy Cougars.
What, you think that Dana wouldn't Photoshop that to scare you?
No, I wouldn't. Nuclear plant workers developed cancer? You think someone's going to make that up? Little d? Really? As little as 5 millisieverts. 5 millisieverts. Like the plot of a summer horror flick.
Kooky
all around the Canadian Pacific. No, man.
Kooky conspiracies.
No. It's fact. No, these are headlines, you little demon. Now his little d stands for demon. Sometimes it's little diamond. Sometimes it's just little d. Bodies are swollen by cancerous tumors. Pacific Coast, that's this year's headline, by the way. Do you get it? That's all that's left. We done the whole coastline. We got it all up at the nuclearproctologist.org. Surgeon babies being born with extra arms and legs. We got to start booking in. High number of stillborns. Many people reporting cancers even far away.
Media doesn't report on shit like that. That's why I know it's fake.
No, it's all these headlines are not something you can sneeze at, little d. Release as much as 1,000 atomic bombs per day, probably. I believe that one, because their reactor cores are melted down. They're consuming, cannibalizing, atomizing, and distributing everything. And came in contact with fissionable products. Historical crises all along the historical crisis all on the West Coast.
Oh, you could probably get a headline to support anything, Dana.
Yeah, but I'm not. I'm reading the headline. Historical crisis, extinction threat for salmon, loss of sardines, squid, sea urchins, kelp. We've documented that all along the coastline.
It's like a banana, Dana. Stop lying to people.
No, it's not like a banana. I got a story here I want you to listen to. Look, listen. This is 37 seconds. This is last week about all the orcas are emaciated and starving to death. They're not like bears that hibernate and lose weight. These can eat each other. And they can eat halibut and squid.
This is far more sinister, where we're losing reproductive females and their babies. When you don't reproduce anymore, you don't have a population.
The news, while not confirmed by a carcass, might as well be. This is the last picture of J28 taken by Balcom on October 2nd, along with her youngest calf, J54, a male. He says the whales are emaciated, underweight, underfed, and the short supply of the whale's natural prey, Chinook salmon, forced the mothers to draw from fat, often filled with accumulated.
So sickened animals, unlike anything we've seen, they're eating themselves from the inside, yeah? And cancers, liver, pancreas, all of it. It's
Dana's like walking in sunshine, for goodness sakes. Give it up.
Yeah, no, it's not at all.
Dana's like walking in sunshine, for goodness.
No, it's not. Children with mutations on every street in India, deformed heads, lopsided, exceptional worrying. Nuclear radiologists, don't be fooled by paid industry consultants that are
Dana, you're not telling the truth, Dana.
Yeah, no, I am.
Scientists says it's like getting on an airplane, Dana.
Yeah, no, but they're not really scientists. Enraged nuclear expert. I'm furious at the government for misleading information, downplaying ingesting milk with iodine 131. And everybody knows,
like
right, that these lawyers... No, it's not like sleeping next to somebody. It was never like sleeping next to a buddy. Nuclear industry propaganda about low-level radiation is rubbish.
Oh,
and everybody knows
can
that,
hurt
right?
Somebody.
No, it doesn't work that way. Look at it. Look at the information. Look at this. Think about it. Cancer risk increases any level of radiation exposures.
You
Nuclear
wouldn't have
engineer
nuclear
Fukushima
plants if it
catastrophe
was
could top
dangerous,
500,000. What?
You wouldn't have nuclear plants if it was dangerous, Dina.
No, but they got the plants because they got all these PR firms to come out and do all these laws. Radiation around Fukushima, where levels are making you vomit, your hair is being stripped. 45% of the kids had.
Scientists would speak out, Dana, if it was dangerous.
They did. I'm showing you the information.
Scientists would...
Look at it. How low doses of radiation cause heart disease, strung. I'm sick of it. Can't explain it to fucking anybody. Excuse the language. Let's just call it a show. Because otherwise I'm going to get upset with the little demon in the corner picking at you, digging at you, making up stuff all the time, always trying to humiliate you, attacking you, vilifying you and me and everybody else for having a conscience, for having morals. Sorry, folks, I'm snapping. Let's call it a show. Hugs for everybody. Episode 4. We made it through it. We rocked our way through it. I'm kind of burnt out at this stage. Little demon. You're a good kid, Dan. We'll win you over at some point. We can win over anybody if you just listen to the truth. If you just try. You just give us a chance. Just a minute, 30 minutes of their time. We can win over anybody. Hugs for everybody. Don't forget, Dana loves you. No matter how much work it takes, I'm back. Dana's back. We are not going to be denied a future for the generations and for the species that are left. Hugs for everybody.